There are way too many remakes nowadays, and here's another one. Panzer Dragoon, the remake physical release by Forever Entertainment and Forever Limited in Poland. There was a release in the USA by Limited Run Games, and then I think 2 years ago they made one of the final version, the version 2.0 of the game, and released it in Europe, only available through the website of the publisher, Forever Limited, and it costs 40 euros shipped to your door, and you have a physical release of this game. Of course, fans know that Panzer Dragoon was a Saturn game, then was ported to PC, then was ported to PC again for certain graphics cards, and then ported to PS2, and there is an Xbox version that's, I think, emulated on Panzer Dragoon Orta, so there's no shortage of versions of this game you can play, but this is a from the ground up remake of the entire thing, and you get this game for the Switch. There's also a PS4 version, but I don't think there is one outside of the Limited Run Games version. So in Europe, you can only get this one. It's still on the website. It's the publisher's code Forever Limited, but from what I can tell, this is not limited. There are also big collector's editions. I only sprung for the standard version that has the game in it. And a few small extras. You get this dope little card with a like almost embossed dragon on there. It's hard to see on video, so don't expect to see it. And you get a sticker card, so you can put, I don't know, Panzer Dragoon stickers onto your Nintendo Switch. And of course, the game cartridge, which has the latest patch on it. We'll look at that in a second. And there's even a reversible cover if you're into that one, if you prefer this more classic art style of this. I actually really like this cover. It has like the dragon with his nice little flappy wings, and what's his name? Kyle or something? The main character of the game. I've by now beaten this a couple of times, and I want to show you a little bit of gameplay on the Nintendo Switch, so move right back over to the TV. Alright boys, we are in. It's on the Switch, and we can look at the software information up here, and up there you see version 2.0 on the cartridge. No online download required, unlike the Limited Run Games version, which has, I think, version 1.4 on the card. So all the quality of life improvements this game got are not on this one, at least not all of them. When the game launched, it got pretty mixed reviews because, well, there were a few problems. Like the dragon had some very weird animation, and overall, like the aiming reticle wasn't that great, so it looked weird. So it had a lot of problems that the original release didn't have. And overall, the Saturn version was just the preferred version compared to the remake. Actually, let me turn down the volume a little bit. So we got, I mean, here we have stats when you play through the game a couple of times, right? Okay, started games 2, I did a few like single levels. So these are the stats you have in the game. The whole game is maybe an hour long, a campaign. It's an on-rails shooter, of course, as you all know. And there's not a lot of replay value to it except for getting the highest score. We have a few things like gameplay, and these are, well, some of the things they added in the later patches that were not in the original release. So if you're looking at some old reviews of the game, like disregard them, look what they updated in version 2.0 and then make a buying decision. We have performance mode, which on the Switch just downgrades the resolution a lot, the quality a lot, and the game runs in 60 FPS then, whereas if you don't put it on, it's in 30 FPS and the graphics are better. This is more of a thing for the more higher end consoles who can handle the good visuals and the high performance. On Switch, I don't know, it's an on-rails shooter, so do you really care? But I'm putting on the performance mode because, well, the graphics are not that important, and I've played through it with the graphics anyway. You use vibration, just turn that on. The classic reticle, I can explain that later, auto zoom and so on, hide in-game HUD if you want a more immersive thing. Yeah, so let's just actually, let's just continue one of the games I have already started. I'm on episode 6 right now. Don't worry, nothing of this is really a spoiler. It's a 1-hour on-rail shooter. If you don't want to see beautiful visuals, which honestly look really, really good in this remake, maybe look away. The loading times on the Switch are quite significant, but I mean, they load when the level starts, and once the game gets going, you don't see them a lot. Of course, a lot of the charm goes missing from the Saturn version. You know, one of the earliest like fully 3D games and early Sega 3D games, all of that like graphical charm to it that a lot of the older titles are missing. So this one just basically looks like a lower budget 3D game nowadays. That's because it is. So we are on rails, we cannot control the dragon at all, we can only control the radical, and I haven't played in a few weeks, so I'm not the best at the controls right now. You can only turn this around. And I shouldn't have started on level 6 actually, so I probably should have picked level 1 just to, well, make sure I get the controls down. And this, yeah, it's not one of the prettiest levels, but it's a later one, you know, dystopian future kind of thing. Of course, the whole atmosphere is why you play this. The gameplay, I mean, it's an on-rails shooter. Later they did Panzer Dragoon 2 for the Saturn, which I don't think ever got any re-release. And of course Panzer Dragoon Saga is the big one everyone wants. This company who did the remake for Panzer Dragoon, they are currently working on Panzer Dragoon 2, the remake, which has been delayed for years now. I think it was planned to release in 2020 and it's still not been released, so I think I might die here actually. And yeah, it's a bit in development hell, if you want to call it that, which is a bit sad. I think the remake of part 1 sold quite well, at least compared to their expectations, and especially because it was basically a digital only game. Like the physical release, the limited run, you know, name says it all, very limited, and then this European release only available through the publisher's website, no other way. So let's just say the physical release doesn't exist unless you go out of your way to buy it. So, and I think despite that, the game was quite a success in the end. So they're working on a sequel, and the most important thing is they plan on remaking Panzer Dragoon Saga as well. And I'm super excited for that because I never got to play that. I never got to play any of the Panzer Dragoon games actually. So this was my first rodeo with this game. And I want to play the PS2 port of the first game at one point, because that's just more accessible than the Panzer Dragoon for the Saturn, because I don't have a Saturn. So I want to play it on the PS2. I don't have an Xbox either, so PS2 version is the only way to go for me. Oh, and we are dead. We got shut down. So maybe let's do, okay, let's not continue. Maybe let's go to level 1 to check out what we can do to make it sound a bit more appealing or look a bit more appealing to the average viewer. We can maybe put on a few of the graphical options here. Actually, let's do gameplay performance mode off. Let's turn on the new radical. And then, let's see, new game. Let's play on normal. So the loading time is back again. And it's quite a fun game. I'm a huge fan, of course, of Res, for example, which was the sequel they did after the Saga game. So Res is basically Panzer Dragoon 4 at this point. And that one has a lot more, a lot more replay value overall. And it's a lot more fleshed out. You can see that this game is from I think Panzer Dragoon was from 95 or something, or 94 even. I'm not too sure right now when it came out exactly. But like the mid-90s, when polygonal 3D games were still a bit of a novelty. So it's quite basic. The atmosphere is like the thing to go for in a game like this, especially Panzer Dragoon. They do a good job with the fantasy language and building this world. And I'm excited to play Panzer Dragoon 2 because I've heard that's one of the like best rail shooters and they improved everything from the original game. So I am quite excited to check that out whenever the remake drops. As far as I know, it has not been cancelled yet. So let's keep our fingers crossed and let's hope that it sells well enough to guarantee a remake of Panzer Dragoon Saga as well. So you see the game is quite a bit more choppy now, but the visual effects are upgraded quite a bit. So the gameplay, if you have played Res, I think more people have played Res at this point than Panzer Dragoon. You know, you can like shoot like this, and if you hold down the button, you can aim on enemies. Now the difference, you may not see it too much, between the classical reticle and this one, the new version. The classical one is a lot more 3D, it goes into the game. Whereas here you see the reticle goes over my dragon, it's on top of the game. That's one of the features they added in the later patches, that the classic reticle is just, you know, more true to the classic, if you want to call it that. It just feels a lot nicer. I think, I don't know why they changed it, but I'm not a huge fan of this one. I mean, I can live with it. There were people who had a lot of problems with it when the game came out. I mean, it's still fine. What really annoyed me when the game came out is, well, first of all, it was a digital only release, I don't buy that. But the animation for the dragon, it was just bumping up and down all the time. You see, every time the dragon flapped, it just flapped all over the screen, and they toned that down quite a bit to make it closer to the original game. And it looks quite nice now. Like, I'm super impressed by this remake. When you compare it to the original, they fleshed out a few levels. Of course, the original level is iconic of Panzer Dragoon, even for people who have never played it. And but the later levels are pretty bare bones. Like, you fly through the desert and there's nothing in the later levels. Whereas here, like, they transformed quite a few of the environments to make it a lot more interesting for the modern viewer of the gameplay. And in the end, you're only looking at things in this game. Like, the gameplay system is not that deep. It's no Res. And the high score hunting is not quite there. I wish it had more replay value, because apparently on the PS4 there's an achievement to play this game for 100 hours. And there's not enough here to play for 100 hours, I can tell you that. You will play through this game 1 time, 2 times, and then maybe revisit it every couple of months, once a year, every couple of years, just to go on a bit of a journey through the dreamlike valleys of Panzer Dragoon. It's quite a nice game, and I enjoy games like this. I don't mind paying 40 euros for a 1 hour game if there is enough to go back to. Like, I'm keeping this game. I'm not planning on selling this game in the future. You know, sometimes you buy a game and you already feel, I'm never putting this back again. But this will be part of my like regular rotations of games I may replay, because it's not a time investment, 1 hour, maybe you die a couple of times, 1.5 hours, and then you're done. And then you can put it away for another year and then pull it back out in the future and have an enjoyable time all the way around. I would say, as someone who has not played the original, now with all of the patches, the 2.0 version, this is a fantastic way to play Panzer Dragoon. And even if you only plan on, you want to play Panzer Dragoon, it's, I think, totally a replacement for the original. You don't have to grab like an old emulator to look at all the differences. Just play the game, enjoy it, and you may enjoy your time a lot more than the people did when the game launched. A lot of the weird design decisions have been fixed in these later versions. So, big recommendation from me, this is a game for you, then you know. Like if you, a lot of my friends, I tell them, oh, Panzer Dragoon, like it's a nice on-rail shooter, like Res is a great on-rail shooter, and they say, you know, on-rail shooters, they're not for me. I don't get the gameplay, I don't get the appeal of it. And if you look at this and you don't get the appeal, like there's nothing for you to gain from getting this game. But if this looks interesting to you, like this looks something you can enjoy, I highly recommend it. Physical collectors, the physical release is still available. Ships from Poland, so if you're from Germany like me, this is easy, cheap and fast to get. So let's see, I need to destroy this missile over here. Let's see. We want to finish this level and then I think we can end the video. You get the idea. Oh no, I didn't get it. So, let's keep going. I'm not doing any damage to the ship. I've forgotten all the boss tactics in this one. And they're not as deep as Res, for example. Res had quite a few awesome bosses. In this one, like this is the type of boss you're looking at with this game. Alright, level's done. Let's look at the ranking system, which is not as deep as Res. You know, in Res you could evolve and you could level up and all of this. In this one, it just, you know, shutdown rate 99%. And you get credits in case you die a lot, if you like have a high shutdown rate. Enemies missed 1. So this is the replay value you're looking at. There's no scoring system, no leveling system. It's pretty bare bones. But like I said, if this appeals to you, you may enjoy this. And I recommend this version of the game now. So I'm very happy I bought this. I'm very happy to have this in my collection. And I hope you may enjoy checking it out as well. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye.